Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Rolling with Sisyphus. In episode 5, we'll be interviewing our guest OpticDecay, Rob LeBlanc. But first and foremost, let's get out the master of ceremonies, Sisyphus.
Hey guys, it's Sisyphus here. It's been a crazy couple days. All I can say is, wow. Being a California evacuate around the millennia, turn of the millennia, I know all about this California life, and I am happy to see it blow up in front of everybody's face. But in other news, Kanye's been spouting profound things, just about as profound as Jordan Peterson telling you to make your own bed. But yeah, we got a great show. We got Rob here tonight. Rob LeBlanc. He is also known as OpticDecay, a great artist. He's done a lot of work for a lot of people.
Sisyphus, I hate to cut you here. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish. But first, I have to say this. Everybody drink. I just have to say that tonight's buzz is brought to you by Coconut, New Amsterdam alcohol. And tonight I will be mixing it with blue raspberry soda. So, the name of this drink is going to be called the Blue Nut Buster. Feel free to enjoy one yourself if you'd like. Remember, this is a safe space where you can enjoy your adult intoxicants. And now, back to Sisyphus.
Like I was saying, have a great show coming up, and I'd like to sponsor this to It Sounded a Lot Better in My Head. Everybody was laughing in my head when I told those jokes. So
That's always how it is, man.
But
my wife just looks at me, rolls her eyes, and thinks, when's the day I'm going to have to commit him?
But let's go ahead and bring Rob in. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. You get something in your belly, or you waiting to eat?
I'm gonna eat after all this because I got other things going on. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm all good.
Cool.
Just a fun, weird day.
Well, it's always a difficult day when you're spending most of it dick riding.
Yeah, I mean, it's just too many penises to ride this, today, man. You see, my wife just looked at me funny, going like, "Where you getting all that dick?"
Me too, please.
Yes. So how you guys doing? Doing good? Doing good?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I refuse to make exceptional detective jokes at this point.
I refrain from it too because I don't know. It's a very unfortunate situation where I didn't think it was the best thing to do, but at the same time, he kind of brings a lot of crap on himself.
Well, Medicare's going to be Medicare, and nobody's going to stop him.
I'm glad he made up for it with. I think he kind of felt bad. I think he felt bad about his performance with the whole exceptional detective thing. So he just really wanted to find a fucking dumpster fire to make up for it, and he fucking delivered.
No, I think his nihilism radar kicked in, because I was watching it all last night too. Until like 6 in the morning, and I'm just like, okay, when are they putting the cuffs on? But hey, that is silly YouTube drama. We're here to talk about the life of an artist.
Yes, the more worthwhile thing I do with my time.
No doubt.
Well, I mean, one pays the bills and the other one's just amusing.
Okay, so now this is my first question. What was the first piece of art that your mom put on the refrigerator?
Nothing.
You didn't have a refrigerator?
Oh no, I had a refrigerator. My parents weren't exactly the most supportive.
Okay.
I mean, my father was a bit, but my mother was just like, get a real job, you fucking loser.
Well, yeah, but as a kid, I mean, I know my parents said that to me that I needed to get a job when I was 10, but I mean, as far as it goes, what I mean, what started you down the path?
Um, Mostly it was just kind of like boredom, really. It was like I was really into like when I was really little, I was into like stuff like, you know, your GI Joe, your Transformers, your He-Man, like that kind of stuff. But those shows were only on during like a 1 hour block every day. So I would get home from school, I would be kind of bored, I'd watch those shows, and I'd have to amuse myself for the rest of the night. If I wasn't going hanging out with people, I would just sit there and I would just draw the stuff. You know, make up my own little like adventures. You know, like while I was like we're talking like 4 or 5 years old.
So was there a certain, I mean, like, were you a Looney Tune draw artist? I mean, is there a certain, I mean, I hate saying LeBlanc, you know, from, I'm pretty sure there was a Looney Tunes guy that was LeBlanc Mel, right?
That was just
Not
Mel
quite.
Blanc.
Mel
Mel
Blanc.
Blanc.
That's,
Mel
Come
Blanc. Mel Blanc.
on, come on, let's do the Midwest pronunciation since he was from there.
Uh,
Blank,
I always,
blank.
I always do it wrong. I get made. That's the worst. I cannot make any arguments anywhere I'm at because they always focus on something I say the way I say it wrong, and they're like, you know, you can't even talk correctly.
nah,
I call it an accent, but it is what it is.
it
So,
works.
so you were more in line of doing cartoons as opposed to, yeah, you know, watercolor, still life. Did you ever decide to veer off into that kind of stuff?
I mean, here and there, like, when I'd be in school, they'd just be like, "Oh, like you should do more, you know, more serious stuff," and they would kind of like put, "Oh, draw a still life, draw the," and I never really found that stuff interesting. So,
So,
I just I kind of gravitated to doing my own thing as opposed to doing what they wanted me to do.
oh, by the way, for the audience, as you're watching the B-roll go, all of this is Rob.
Yeah,
Uh,
I put it in the chat,
Now, all of this is electronic work too, right?
Rob.
All of
Yes.
all of it's digital.
Yeah. Well, this one was partially digital. This one it just came up.
How do you partially digital? I mean, I'm really dumb when
Oh
it
well,
comes to art. How do you partially
like
digitalize it?
how I like the older way I used to do stuff. I used to just do it on paper and then I would scan it and then I would, you know, I would ink
Oh,
it.
okay. And then
You know,
so
sometimes
it
I would
would be
ink it.
like a trace. Okay, that's
Yeah,
I
and then
actually wow,
but
cool.
like for the most part, the bulk of this stuff that I sent was all digital.
Yeah, I honestly cannot make the transition. My brain can't jump. But then again, only thing I have is like a bamboo pad.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's the thing. Is like the bamboo pads are not bad. It's just that, um, I mean, how I do stuff now is I have a Cintiq 22 HD, and
okay.
that's what I primarily use, and that's you know, it's basically the closest I get to doing like just drawing on paper kind of thing. So I'm drawing right on a screen.
So how is that just like something you set on your lap? What
No,
you're talking
I
about?
have it on my desk, like right next to me.
Oh, so you just you draw like upright. Do you lean it back like an easel or anything like that? Do you tilt
Uh,
it?
I do. I have it a little bit of an angle because you know, like having it straight up is just
Yeah.
like, oh, you kidding me?
So you're I mean really it's basically your digital painting. Is that's awesome.
Well, so let's go ahead and jump into it since we've already dipped our toes. What's your gear? What do you use?
Like the main desktop rig currently.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a Ryzen 5 1600, like 16 gigs of RAM. With a like an Asus like 8 GB like RX like 580. Yeah, that's what it is, 580.
Okay.
I mean, fairly recent kind of rig, but it's mostly like that kind of rig is like a gaming rig, but it has enough power to do what I need to do.
Do you use just one set of software, or do you have multiple different stuff that you like to do stuff in?
Well, I have multiple things, but I primarily just use Clip Studio Paint for everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, no, I'm
Because for years I've always struggled with Photoshop doing brush stuff with that,
I
and
hate Photoshop.
it was always way too fuzzy for me. So I got really annoyed with it, and I was just like, forget it. So I found that's why I started doing things more traditional again, like using pen and just scanning it.
Yeah.
But then I found Clip Studio Paint. What I do is I bought like Mega Studio 4 like a bunch of years ago when I bought a Mac, which I gave up on. But I bought Manga Studio, and the line work tools in there were really good, but the program was kind of crap at the time. But
Okay.
then they put out it was like Manga Studio 5, which more or less is a swiped version of Clip Studio. So I went with that, and it's served me well ever since.
Yeah, I'm of the mind where I'm so old I bounce back and forth between three different programs, but that's just to do photoshopping and compositing. I
Oh,
mean,
I used to do that stuff too, but I was never really good with the Photoshop, compositing stuff. I'm absolutely abysmal at that stuff.
well, you need a good subject like Mundane Matt, and then it all
Yeah.
just clicks into gear.
Yeah, I mean now it's
He's
just
your
like
muse.
I'll just do whenever I do my streams. It's always in Clip Studio. I did try to do Corel Painter Essentials the other day,
Yeah.
and I ended up just kind of moving on to something else because Clip Studio was just like it's intuitive and it's simple. So that's what I default to these days.
Okay, well, put on your educator's hat. There's people out here listening, and if they're just starting their transition from physical pen and paper going into the digital medium, what would you suggest that they start off with? Something for, basically starters.
Well, if you're absolutely just starting, I mean, like you can't really go too wrong with like you want to get used to using like a tablet or something like that if you want to go that route. I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting like a bamboo tablet, like one of the cheaper ones. So
Yeah.
you at least get a feel of how the stuff works, and using like programs like GIMP, like you don't have to like throw out a ton of money to really get started doing a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, and the bamboo stuff out there, even if they're, not top of the line brand new coming out, you can pick up for, under $100.
Yeah, I mean, like for under $100, I mean, yeah. So for some people, it might be a little bit more of a barrier of entry, because then at that point, I'd say, just stick to the pen and paper until you have the budget to do something at least on that small scale. Yeah, because here's the thing, you may not even like doing it that way.
Uh,
So that's why I'm like, don't go through the big expense unless you're really sure you want to do it.
oh
And,
yeah.
and then once you get past that point, you're just like, as you learn, you might want to expand and get new things, explore other kinds of, because I mean, like before I got the 22 HD, I used it was one of those weird Chinese knockoff ones.
Okay.
Um, where it was like it was the pen tablet screen thing, and it was like $200-$300. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it lacks some of the functionality. So it
Well,
was like that's how I got used to the stuff, and then I just went, okay, I think I'm ready to just like give up and just do it.
well,
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna. I've got about I've got about 200 or 300 markers from like Copic and Prismacolor and Sakura. So I just never was able to make that digital transition. I always find that's amazing.
See, a lot of how I went digital was because like I didn't have any money really, at that point. I mean, I was messing with Photoshop. I was always using like art programs in some fashion, but I didn't really have the big expensive tablets and all that shit until a couple of years ago, really.
Well,
And
I'm gonna guess you're what, around your 30s?
oh no, I'm 40.
Ah, well, okay. Yeah, because internet did not exist until let's see. For me, it was 93 when it came around.
Yeah,
So
for me it was like 95 that I actually cared about it.
yeah, so I mean, digital, there was no focus on it, and I'm the thing that I'm most curious is, um, do you suggest that artists at least try to develop some basic skills with the digital medium since it's becoming so prevalent right now?
Oh, these days, absolutely. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like art supplies themselves. The big reason why I made the leap to primarily digital is mostly because I never had the budget to really like buy like Copic markers, for example. I really wanted them, but you're talking like you buy like a set of them. You're not getting everything in the set unless you spend like a couple $100.
Now, if you don't mind a novice asking, what are Coptic markers?
Um,
I know Coptic Christians, but
No,
not.
Copic. They're
Copics are they're alcohol based markers that are really really good. Like
So
yes, they
like
are.
super paint
probably
markers.
the best like they're not paint. It's like alcohol based inks and
Okay.
pigments.
Oh wow, cool.
and
Um,
and it gives you the ability to actually blend your colors in. It doesn't actually create solid lines. Like if you put a black down and then you shade with a red, it's going to make the black fade a little bit so the red soaks into it, and you've got oh, what do you call it, a degree of shading, a blending.
yeah. Well,
Wow.
here's a cool thing. There's a program called Autodesk Sketchbook that actually has a deal with the people who make the Copic markers, to where they actually have a digital version of those in the program. So you can mimic how those work
Well,
uh,
Do you
digitally.
I will say it definitely made me feel like I was an artist when I was using Copics.
do you use that effect or whatever you call it, that use on
Um,
the program?
well, with Clip Studio Paint, they don't have anything like that. It's mostly just kind of straight, like sort of Photoshop-y kind of
Okay.
coloring. But if I do use Sketchbook, yeah, I mess around with it.
Okay.
So I still every so often do the ATC community artist trading cards.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hit you up, man. Next time, once I get control back in my hand, we'll switch back and forth on cards. You can tell me what you want me to draw, and I will suck at it.
All right. Well,
But
here's the if you ask me to do like a lot of like mainstream stuff, I might suck at it too, because like really, it's like, oh, like could you draw Spider-Man? It's like, yeah, but I haven't really drawn Spider-Man in like a decade.
well, dude, somebody when we were trading, uh, uh, they wanted a llama drawn in royal garb.
Huh.
So you definitely get a lot of weird requests.
See, that sounds kind of fun, because that's kind of what my sort of my streams are like, the sketch card of YouTube streams, where but it's mostly like, oh hey, what do you want me to draw? Like, oh, draw like Coach Red Pillows and Amiibo.
So we're getting a lot of chat about these people not being able to knowing how to draw. Do you feel, and this is something that's actually a question I wanted to ask, do you honestly feel that it's a talent thing, or do you think it's more of just a skill that the more you do it, the better you will get, no matter, or do you think that just some people will never be able to draw?
I have an answer for this later.
Well, it depends really, because like, see, with me, it's like, yeah, it is a talent thing, and it's really hard to tell people that. Like sometimes it's like you may not be able to do exactly what I do, but there are basic techniques that I do, which
Yeah,
are which are completely self-taught, that um other people can learn and at least get some kind of competency at it. So it's like I'm not saying like, oh, like you're completely screwed, but there is going to be a degree of difficulty and awkwardness to it. But
and if
you never want to discourage people.
and
So that's why I never have too much of an answer with that.
yeah, the age, like what I've noticed is the percentage of your life that you do something. You know, if a 4-year-old does something for a year, that's 25% of his life. You know,
Uh,
so a 20-year-old, it would take 5 years of him doing that to equal 25% of his life. You know, or 4 years, I mean. You know what I mean? So they would have
yeah.
basically a 20-year-old would have to do something for 4 years that it would only take a 4-year-old to do in one. You know, I mean,
Well,
that's
my grandfather, who was my fount of wisdom, explained it to me this way. He said, he said, it requires talent, but it also requires the work. Now, you can have very little talent and put in a lot of work, and you might be a great high school or college ball player, but you have to have that talent along with the hard work to become a pro.
uh,
I think in sports, it's I don't know.
No,
I guess I'm making light of art here. You know, so I'm gonna go ahead and step away from that. I'm gonna I'm gonna step away from that conversation now and say that sports is different than art because I'm not even gonna go there. But I
well, no, but anything that you do in life that you have a passion for, there are people out there who have zero talent, but they try as hard as they can. I mean, take a look at Amy Schumer.
well, I mean,
yeah,
that's always a factor. Is like, people are like, oh, can I do
it's
this
the
stuff? And it's
drive.
like,
Yeah,
it's even if you don't have the ability to get like the muscle memory going to be able to like draw like Batman perfectly. It's like, if you really want to do it, just keep doing it.
yeah.
Like, don't, like, never expect to be great pretty much ever. I mean, that's always been my call. I'm just like, yeah, people say I'm great and all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, but to me, I see like I could do better. I just have to work at it. So
Well,
it's like, you kind of get mad at everything when you're done with it.
now
Oh,
if
yeah, yeah. When I was in junior high school, there was this one guy's a complete total stoner, and Mike literally could not do math. He could barely read, but we were given a project to create a fake um, album cover for the young people out in the audience. Before there were like CDs and digital downloads, they were like these big vinyl albums, and that's where that's where his art just kicked in. In one day, he drew a full cover. It was a space scene with a chuck wagon that had multicolored wings, but the chuck wagon body was a quaalude.
That's
And,
kind
and
of neat.
and the title of the album was the LSD Soper Wagon. And he just whipped it out in one day.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
great.
I tried to get it off of him because I'm like, that is too cool. And the teacher took it instead. But yeah, I mean, I think it, it does come to the point where I'm looking at the art that you do. I'm looking at how quickly and deftly that you do it, and I know I'm still on the high school team, and you're stepping up to the plate with the pros.
Well, I have been doing it at least semi-professionally for like 25 years. Probably,
Well,
probably a little bit more. Like, I started when doing fill-ins for random indie comics and stuff in the 90s.
well, I mean, it shows. I mean, it shows that you've got that you've got the
Let
talent
me
and you
tell you,
put
I
the
was
work in it.
absolutely abysmal then.
Okay.
I never show that stuff. In fact, I don't even think I even have that stuff anymore. It was bad. It was real bad.
Oh,
But it was more of like in the 90s. It was a matter of like, oh hey, you work for almost nothing. Want to do a thing? Like, can you trace over someone's lines? Okay, yeah, I guess. And it would always be like some knockoff Todd McFarlane art or like Rob Liefeld art.
So
I
how long
was
have you
confused.
sorry Doc, how long
Go.
have you been a professional artist? I mean, I love the Simpsons line whenever Bart is a drum player and Lisa asks him to come up and play with us, and he's like, give me your sandwich. And she's like, okay, and gives him the sandwich, and he's like, all right, I'm a professional artist. So I'm kind of wondering, how long have you actually been paid to do art?
Paid to do it since I was like 15.
Wow. Wow. Can you what was the first thing you were paid for?
It was once again those 90s books where it was just like, oh hey, like our knockoff Rob Liefeld is is late on a thing. Can you do like a page for us, or
You
can
don't
you do
remember
like
you don't remember the
it's nothing really like specific. It was
Oh, okay.
always it
Okay.
was always the most random stuff because like in New York there was a lot of there was just a lot of people who ran around like they were all trying to cash in on comics at that point, so everybody had a comic going, and it was all just like oh hey, like the guy we hired is like a month late, can you fill in? And I'm like, okay,
Now
like
being involved in that
I don't know what I'm doing, but okay.
yeah, being involved in that type of stuff, do you ever remember a comic that you thought was really good that never got off never got off the ground or anything like that?
I mean, nothing really springs to mind because the 90s was all about the worst kind of knockoff books you could imagine.
Yeah.
So everything was like, oh hey, Spider-Man's big right now, let's make like everything look like Spider-Man. Oh, here's like X-Men. X-Men's doing great. Guess what, everybody has a super team now.
So it being the 90s, if Jim Shooter walked up to you and said, Rob, you can have any book you want, what would you have picked?
Probably Punisher, maybe. I don't know, like Punisher in the early 80s was really good. I also like
yeah.
the like Wolverine, but it was like that Frank Miller, like early Wolverine.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, Punisher around that time was Mike Zeck.
Yeah.
And Mike Zeck was badass for his covers. He loved to paint covers.
It was all like when I was a kid, I was like in third grade. It was like all about that. There was this one Punisher cover where it was like it was a painting and he's up against a wall and he's just firing a gun and screaming. With
Yeah, and
with like shells all over the place and like I'm like, that was sick.
that's Mike Zeck, definitely.
Yeah.
So, and I told you I was going to do this. Give me your top 3 favorite artists, and honestly, it could be for any reason.
Oh. Well,
and we're going just with comic books right now since we're tapping that vein.
well, I mean, it was Bill Sienkiewicz. He was a great one back in the day. Like a lot of his like painted stuff was awesome.
Really?
Now what did
Yeah.
what is he known for? If I mean,
Um,
you're with
see,
a guy
I
that's not hip on, like, I know
that was
comics,
one of those
but
things
like
where
knowing each
I don't
artist.
recall like specifically a lot of books he was on, but when I was a kid, it was all about like a lot of the cover work he would do.
Yeah,
So
he started off getting notoriety, inking Frank Miller when he did his Daredevil run. He
Yeah.
also did a run for Fantastic Four. But yeah, he was widely known for doing these. I wouldn't say trippy like Steranko, but I would say more alternative art. I mean, more interpretation than actual. Well, you have to nail the musculature for this and that.
Yeah, it was very much like kind of like an outsider. Like if you want to see like a great example of something from the 80s was the first issue of the Marvel Transformers comic.
Oh yeah,
That was him.
oh yeah.
where it looks all weird and stylized and everything. Like that's the stuff he would kind of do. I liked Walt Simonson stuff.
Yeah.
But then like getting to the '90s, it was like your DC Vertigo guys like Chris Bachalo. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but he did the Death miniseries, and he did Shade the Changing Man in the '90s.
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember it.
Like that dude. That dude is awesome.
Um,
He's still around, but like his style kind of evolved more into a little more mainstreamish than I would normally do.
well,
But
now, did you ever see Frank Miller's work when he was penciling and inking John Carter, Warlord of Mars for Marvel?
no, I didn't see that stuff.
He was literally bullpen, just churning it out. There was no style to it whatsoever. He was following the from what he told me, it was he was cheating with the Neil Adams sketchbook.
Oh, of course. You see, whenever you talk to guys of that time, it's always like, oh yeah, we all just ripped off Neil.
Well, you know Neil Adams literally had a morgue, a sketchbook, where it was just filled with different arm poses, different torsos, different legs, different facial expressions. It was a huge book.
Oh yeah.
And there was an uproar because in the late 80s, he was traveling somewhere and somebody stole the book out of his luggage.
Yeah. That definitely happens. Like with Neil Adams, it's like one of those things where like I really liked it, but it was like I liked the things that he did to help innovate things. Like he's one of the people who expand the whole like process of coloring comics.
Yeah.
You know, like he added things to where it was like, okay, now you can print more colors. You know, like a lot of printing techniques, like for modern stuff, wouldn't have happened if it weren't for Neil doing the stuff he did originally. So he did a lot of things like for it, but like a lot of his books, I wasn't really too huge on because I didn't get to read them until later on. Like his the Brave and the Bold stuff, I didn't see that till way later.
And his Green Lantern, Green Arrow run was just beautiful.
Yeah, and his Dead Man.
Oh yeah, Dead Man was wonderful. I have to say, just to throw my 2 cents in, I still think Kirby is the king. He's not the greatest artist when it comes to drawing realistic, but nobody
matches the kinetic like energy of that artwork.
Nobody can make a splash page like Kirby.
Yeah.
Also, had to pull one from across the seas, Brian Boland.
Oh yeah, Brian Boland's great.
Although he's a slow bastard, just like I thought Art Adams was going to have a big career, but then all of a sudden he just kept missing deadlines and kept missing deadlines. Now I know
I mean Art Adams stuff like is very 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 complicated.
Well, yeah, but still they stopped having him do regular series work and would only have him do one shots and annuals and limited series. So they had it all in-house and done before they actually put it out, because they got burned with, what was it? Was it Hawk and Dove that he was drawing? And he had the first 2 issues in the can, and then they went on hiatus for like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. See, I didn't follow that way too closely, but it was one of those things where you just kind of like, you know, it's sad when it happens, but it's, you know, it's like the nature of the business. Like how I've operated is like when I'm doing actual comic stuff, I'm actually pretty slow.
Well,
so I can understand where it comes from. Like me, if I was like hired at Marvel, I probably couldn't do like a monthly book on a regular basis. Like I could do a couple months and then I have to take a break. You know, kind of deal, because it can get very grueling to do that stuff. But like doing like just a piece for a cover or something like that, it's like I could bang that out in a couple days.
So I know I had somebody ask me to ask you this question. about how the Kumite comic is coming along. Care to update the fans on that one?
Well, I've expanded the story quite a bit. Like how I'm looking at it right now is that it's going to be kind of like a 6-issue arc. Then it's going to stop for a little while, and then it'll start up another 6 after that. Like seeing how things go, but yeah, it's a little complicated because it's one of those things where like part of it I want to actually start doing on live streams so that people can actually see like things getting made and whatnot. But it's always like trying to pick the stuff that doesn't have spoilers in it or something that that gives something away that I really shouldn't.
So, are you working the Julius Schwartz or the Stan Lee method making the book?
Well, there's actually a couple different methods used. In the first issue, it is very much Stan Lee old school Marvel method, where I plotted a whole bunch of stuff out, and then the rest is just kind of like it's a little bit of winging it, but there's a plan.
Kind of like create your own adventure, drawn out.
Well, yeah, it's like one of those things where because it's like sometimes I find it better to use the Marvel method with some things. Because if I went and I scripted out the first issue and I got really painstakingly detailed with it in that respect, part of it would get kind of bogged down and it would become like this is what it is. It can't really deviate. But when you do that looser style, I found that it flows a lot more freely because then I could just go like randomly, oh, this sounds like a good idea, and then just go with it. And if it doesn't work, I could just take it out.
Well, and just to fill in the audience, if you don't know what we're talking about, Julius Schwartz was the guy who ran DC for almost ever. And what he would do is his writers would make a full script and then hand it over to the artists, and then they would draw it. The Marvel way, the Stan Lee way, was here's the plot, and they'd hand it over to the artist. The artist would then make the book, then the writer would come back in and then fill in all the word balloons to match the action that was done by the artist. That's why Marvel pretty much overtook DC in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, just because of the fact of that free-flowing style that Rob was talking about.
Well, I mean, a lot of that was out of necessity because at the time you didn't have that many writers there. I mean, you had your Roy Thomases and you had Stan Lee, but like Stan Lee was writing like 12 books at a time.
Yeah.
So he was just like, nuts. Oh, so he would just do this thing where he'd pull like Kirby aside and he'd go, okay, I need a Fantastic Four issue where like Galactus shows up and this happens and this happens. And
yeah,
it's like, and then he would just go away for a while and then come back and say, we go, okay, this is good enough, and then just and he would throw words on it.
Yeah, and I just watched a documentary on Steve Ditko, and
Ditko was great,
and
he's highly underrated.
Yeah, and Stan Lee literally said, well, I would give him an idea, and then he'd come back 5 days later with a completely drawn book, and there were some panels I couldn't stand to put words in because they were so beautiful, and they spoke for themselves.
Yeah, it was like, well, I remember when there was a documentary with Stan Lee where it was they're looking for they're trying to find Steve Ditko.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
But they actually cornered Stan Lee and got him to admit that it was Steve that came up with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but still.
Well, I mean, like the very look of Spider-Man was all Ditko.
Well, and Doctor Strange.
Well, Doctor Strange was entirely his.
Well, yeah, but
Stan Lee wrote the story, but it was all just like he showed up with just like, hey, I got this thing of this mystical guy. It does all this stuff.
Well,
like, okay.
And I do like in that documentary where they show the letter that Stan Lee wrote to Ditko. That was like that was like a backhanded acknowledgement of it, and then when they finally
that kind of letter pissed me off.
Oh yeah, but then when they actually talked to Stan Lee and finally cornered him, he's like, yes, okay.
Fine, I'm willing to admit it.
Yeah. My millions of dollars and my years of fame, I'm gonna let this go. That's that's like saying Tesla won.
But that's the thing is, even when they put like Ditko's name in the movies and that kind of stuff, he it's just one of those things where it's just like, I don't know, it's like they just kind of they gave it to him, but then he was like, I don't want the check. I don't care about this stuff. I mean, he's like the kind of guy, like there was one time he did an interview, he did like one of his rare interviews where the guy from it was like Wizard Magazine was really like just bothered by the fact that Ditko was using his old art as cutting boards.
Yeah, I read that one.
Like he was just
like actually
like
for cutting his vegetables and stuff.
Cutting anything.
That's hilarious.
Because Steve invested his money once he got out, and he's well off. He's going to be comfortable until the day he dies. It was just like the old stories about Jack Kirby. If you'd actually show up to his house and be respectful, he would come in and literally draw something for you. Or if he had some of the pages that he walked out with, he would actually give you a page like from Destroyer Duck or from the New Gods. And those pages of art right now are, I won't say priceless, but that price tag's pretty damn heavy right now.
What do you guys think of like the old heavy metal? Well, I guess it's the only heavy metal, like the artwork in that.
I love Jean-Giraud Mobius.
Oh, Mobius is great, but I didn't get really exposed to Mobius through that way. It was mostly through art books that came out later on.
Okay, so as far as an artistic bent, as far as the real world, not the digital or the comic book world, who would you say is an influence on your non-commission art? Like if you're sitting back saying, I'm going to draw something for myself, whose style kind of creeps into your head that you'd like to emulate?
Oh, I mean, I'd love to do like Mobius kind of stuff personally, but I'm not even close to that level. Not many people are, but it's like one of those things where it's like, you have like your but I mean, I would at least like to be as competent as like Simonson during Thor.
Oh, that was some beautiful stuff.
Like that era, it was like this hugely imaginative yet completely like workman solid stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him during that era, and he was just, I mean, grinning from ear to ear because of the fact that Marvel's like, Thor is a dead book. Go ahead, do whatever you want with it. And then when he started doing whatever he wanted with it, they still left him alone.
Now, big question: are we talking actually Thor, or are we talking Journey into Mystery?
No, Thor.
Okay.
Because Journey into Mystery was kind of kiboshed by the time the 60s were over. But, I mean, he got to do Beta Ray Bill, and he also did, the Frog of Thunder.
Well, Journey into Mystery made a pretty good comeback. They had, during the whole Civil War and Fall of Asgard, all that thing, I think it was like 5 or 6 years, might have been 10 years ago, that storyline, that Journey into Mystery storyline along with it was pretty good. And I was just wondering, I mean, I knew I was way off on the years, but I was just wondering if it was the same thing, because that was something that me and a guy used to get involved with or get into it. And I'm like, no, Journey into Mystery is better, no, Thor's better, but it was basically the same storyline.
Well, and Journey into Mystery wasn't always Thor.
No, and mostly Thor was like, I would say he was always about 70% character. Yeah, it was a lot more Loki, a lot more of a Heimdall, and just the Asgard aspect of the whole Asgard falling into Oklahoma, I think, or Kansas. I can't remember exactly which one it was, falling into the Midwest.
So, Rob, what do you think about artists like Boris Vallejo or Frank Frazetta?
Oh, Frazetta was awesome. With Boris, I was only really aware of it when they started doing those trading cards in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
They would have like the the Boris sets, and I was like okay, that's cool. It's like because like at the time I was collecting like the Joe Jusko Marvel Masterpieces stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so it was like I got really into into painting at that point. At that point, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna like get some oil paints, and I'm gonna start painting stuff." And I was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, my wife is the one with the art degree, and I bought her paints, oils, acrylics, watercolors, and she's like, I like to do it, but I don't want to do it. I'm like, damn it. Well, here, have some crayons, and she'll draw the shit out of anything with crayons.
What about the Garbage Pail Kids? Who drew that? What do you think of that artwork? I thought that was hilarious when
I believe it was Art Spiegelman that kind of started that thing. No, we're talking like the guy who made Mouse. He used to do a lot of books in the 80s, like late 80s, early 90s, even some stuff in the early 80s, where it was a lot of weird alternative, like outsider art, kind of like he did a book. I think it was called Raw, where they would have like people who would have never done comics. They would get like musicians coming in doing comics. It was like all kinds of eclectic people doing stuff, and a lot of like Garbage Pail Kids, I believe, came from that.
Well, yeah, I know Spiegelman was part of it. I think Tom Bunk was too, but it's just like one of the biggest artists that they had for TSR for drawing all their Dungeons and Dragons stuff in their modules was a guy named Jeff Butler, and Butler was he did comics for a while. I don't know if you remember this comic, but anybody out there, if you really want a good time, go check out. It was done by First Comics, and I think Eclipse later on, called The Badger. And it's about a guy who thinks he's a superhero, but he's just a schizophrenic.
That's that Woody Harrelson movie. What's that? Gosh dang it, what was it called?
Dementor?
Yeah. Guns are for pussies.
I don't know that one.
It's got that cat from Two Broke Girls. Cat's a drug whore basically. Can't remember her name, but yeah, Dementor's just this kind of he's Woody Harrelson basically really high, and he's just like he's the good guy, but he's a bad guy. He's trying to get drug dealers, but one of his big lines is "Guns are for pussies," and that's beat people's asses. It was before Kick-Ass, I believe.
Well, oh yeah, it was, and one of his big things was he used to carry around jars of bees and throw them at people. It is pretty damn twisted. It's kind of sad at the end.
It's a pretty good movie, and really that girl does a good job in it too. But she's playing the same character as two broke girls though, where she's just some slut. I mean, basically.
Yeah, but if you're going to have a movie night of it, you also have to include in Super from James Gunn and Faust, Love of the Damned.
Faust.
Those three movies are just completely fucked up. Tell you what, it's I think it's about time, since we're at the halfway point, to everyone, please raise your glasses or any other adult intoxicant that you have, and let's give a toast to fine art. Not that Andy Warhol kind of bullshit, but the kind that makes mundane Matt frown when he sees himself crying as a Lego.
What a fool.
Dude, I love that stuff. You know I'm there. And for those of you who don't know, Rob does his own YouTube broadcasts. You get to sit there and watch him go through the physical process.
It's pretty awesome.
Completion. Yes, it is. And sometimes, you can throw in a suggestion or two, which, got me heat with failure. Thank you very much.
Did he actually get mad at you?
No, he just offhandedly called me a dick. So
Oh,
Um,
but he does that all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah. He did it in a loving way.
Eh.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, and I wanted to get your opinion on this too, because you've done like I've done, except for I will say, my level of art when I'm doing cut and paste, I'm just feeling like I'm making visual ransom notes, whereas you're actually creating art.
I like the visual ransom notes.
But when you lampoon somebody on the right, the conservative side, a centrist, you do you see as much backlash, or do you think they get the jokes better than you get with someone who's left or Antifa, or basically the diametric opposite?
See, that's the weird. Okay, the weird thing. Okay, I'm hearing myself.
You're echoing.
I am.
Now you're
I
not.
shouldn't be. Okay, that just spoke me for a second. I was like, ah, no.
It's not time. It's not time.
They're listening now.
Stay away from the light.
Look out for the Dementors. But the whole thing is like, with it, it's like I don't see real backlash from it. Exactly. In fact, I've never had anyone say anything really like bad, except for Coach Red Pill said he had more hair than what I depicted.
No, he didn't.
He did.
No, he didn't.
Sent me a DM.
No, he's saying he's not disputing whether he did or not. He's disputing that there was plenty of hair on his head.
From what he sees in the mirror is incorrect, but what you drew was correct.
Well, it was one of those things where it was like there was that going on, and like it's like I don't have a real political bend to my stuff at all. It's just that like if someone's being goofy, I'll goof on them.
Yeah.
So like comedy is more of like a universal thing.
You know.
So if you're a public figure who opens yourself to be lampooned, it doesn't matter what your affiliation is. So I don't really get a lot of like people think like, oh, you must get a lot of heat for that. I'm like, no, I usually end up getting along with the people that I mess with. It's really bizarre. Like like when I did those things about Monday Matt, like the last ones I did on my last stream.
Yeah.
He thought it was funny and retweeted it.
Wow.
And it was what the Jabba the Hutt Jarbo thing.
Yeah. Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, like he thought that stuff was hysterical. And it was very bizarre to me. It was like okay, why are you laughing?
You know what I think is a pretty overrated piece of art is the Mona Lisa. I mean, I'm not. Like,
I mean, that thing's really small. People think
just,
it's a big painting. It's like a postage stamp.
And she's really ugly. Like it's like the worst. She's got a potato head. You know, she got dead fish eyes.
If she actually did look like that, she would be very disturbing looking.
She was definitely packing something underneath. It looked like it was ContraPoints or something.
like running around with a bunch of oranges in a sack for a face.
It's a trap.
Well, yeah, but wasn't it also postulated that Da Vinci couldn't get anybody to sit for him, so it technically is a self-portrait?
I have no clue. I know you could probably drive a 18-wheeler down the part of her hair.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you got to think back then, bathing was maybe once or twice a month.
Damn it, quit defending the stick. You're supposed to go with it. You're supposed to run and make fun of the painting.
No, it's all that greasy stuff. It's all that greasy kid stuff that the 50s guys were paying money for later on. But
I mean, it's a lot better. It's not even as good as a can of soup. Give me the can of soup.
So is there somebody out there that you would like to draw, or are you just too busy with your commissions?
I mean, right now it's very much like my free stuff is mostly what I do on the streams, where it's kind of like sometimes I'll have an idea but a lot of the time when I start the stream, I have no idea what I'm doing until I start doing it.
Or you have some dumbass make a suggestion like me.
You know, however it works, it works.
Now, as far as it goes, and I'm just going to call you out publicly. When the hell are you going to do your own avatar?
It's happening. I'm just having a hard time of it, trying to decide on what to do.
I'm getting tired of wrenching that watercolor Papa Shango into my photoshops.
The funniest thing is that's just a picture of an action figure with a filter on it.
That's awesome.
It was like, I need an avatar. What do I do? And I look over on the shelf and I'm like, there's an action figure just sitting there. I'm just like, all right.
Now, what is it? I mean,
it's Papa Shango.
Is it okay? I wanted to make sure that it was like something. Wanted to make sure. Kind of.
It is literally a Papa Shango action figure.
Okay, then I definitely have to ask this. You have been brought up by the WWE. It's time for you to make your appearance. This is not a dark match. What music is playing as you make your way to the ring?
Oh. See, that's a rough one. It would have to be some sort of just really obnoxious metal, but not that jock rock stuff they play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that like Nickelback or whatever.
That's not metal.
Knockoff Avenged Sevenfold garbage.
Yeah, oh, come on now. You're still on the hook, man. You got to come up with one.
Oh, what's a good one?
We're not leaving you alone.
I'd probably come out to something like, I mean, if you're really gonna just like do it, it's just like, you know, I'll just go into like some Rammstein or some.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, that'll work.
No, because then it's just gonna confuse everyone because they're gonna be like, wait, is this a German wrestler?
But you could
stick it
and cut a promo with a German accent.
No, that's the thing. I wouldn't do that at all.
Come out with the toothbrush, mustache, and everything.
Not if I want to get out of the building alive.
Oh, dude,
it's pretty sad that facial hair has been completely demolished to where no one can ever use it ever again. I mean, it's sad. That's probably the saddest thing that happened. That's where Hitler went wrong.
They had really great uniforms.
Ruining a mustache. Yeah. The Iron Cross, the skull. You know yeah.
But if you're also looking at like German politics, a lot of German politics has always been a severe overcorrection from that era.
Yeah.
Where like they'll arrest you for even like, you know, doing anything remotely that looks like it might be related to that. It's like, yeah, dude, I was just hailing a cab. What's your problem?
Yeah, and even the reason fascism came in is because they were kicking out the communists, so they were doing a complete 180 from what happened before. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
That's what I was gonna say. You can go to the ring and do the Kyle gimmick. You know, have you seen Kyle? He's this tall.
Well, I mean, JBL did a goose step one time at a live show in Germany.
Yeah,
and he almost got himself like kicked out of the country like immediately.
No, he did. They had one other show that they were supposed to do, and they sent him. They sent him home.
It was like, well, it was very. I mean, he could have gone to jail for that shit. You know, it was just like, ugh. That's not a situation I'd want to deal with. But throwing in some heavily German music and then just coming out and just being like, hey guys, stop. I think that might throw him off enough.
Howdy, y'all. I'm from Germany.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It makes me think of what's his name, Billy Wang Yang, or Billy Yang Wang.
Yeah, it was. What was it?
He was a Chinese cowboy.
Yeah, I remember the character because here's the thing: he still does that bit, but as like a party bus.
Gosh dang, you're echoing again.
Oh shit.
Well, Jimmy lives down around here, so he's been into some of the indie shows that I've been to.
That's cool.
Really nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, not a terrible dude. It just I was never really around watching when that was a thing. I knew about it.
Yeah, I've got a big wrestling background, not like as in getting into the ring, but yeah,
Being around the business.
I still love the drama. Now, as far as it goes, let's talk about this for a little bit. I don't know if this is going to be a soft spot, but I want to pimp this because you do it. You do commissions for people who ask, correct?
Oh yeah, for the most part.
Okay. Not getting into pricing or anything like that. If there's somebody out in the audience that wants to get an avatar commission from you, how would they go about doing it?
Mostly it's just contact me on Twitter, really, or Discord if you know where to find me, because I'm kind of floating around all over the place.
Yeah,
I'm not really hard to get in contact with.
Well, and we went ahead in the description and listed your Twitter, your YouTube, and of course, if people are feeling so kind to drop around your Patreon and say hi.
And stop by DocGriffon's t-shirt store.
Well, hey, wait a minute. I've got a perfect record on my t-shirt store. Somebody buys something, then that's just gonna mess all shit up.
Well, whenever you told me I had 69 subscribers, I had to make an alt account just to give you 70 so I could break your heart. So I might as well break your heart again and get you a t-shirt sale. He sent me a DM. He's like, dude, you have 69 subscribers. And I was like, oh yeah? Created an alt account. I was like, now we have 70. He's like, why'd you do that? And I was like, I don't know.
Well, no. A 70 is just a 69 and you 01.
Take that, buddy.
Look at you.
So as far as your art goes, what do you think is your favorite piece? The thing that you made, you sat back and it just blew your mind as you looked at it again.
Yeah, this is probably gonna be the most disappointing thing. None of it.
Nothing yet?
It's one of those things where I'm never really completely satisfied with the stuff.
You sure Papa Shango with the filter? I mean, that's pretty good art.
I mean, I'm pretty proud of that because I did that in like 4 seconds. But it was just like, what do I do? What do I do? I need a new thing, and I was like, nah, filter done. But it's one of those things where I've always been very weird about my stuff, where it's like, yeah, people like it and all that, but like to me, it's like whenever I release something, it's like I'm giving up on it. It's like
it's done.
Yeah, it's kind of like abandoning a baby on a doorstep, kind of.
Oh my goodness.
Well, can I quote Sylvester Stallone from Judge Dredd? I knew you'd say that. Because no artist is completely happy. I mean, I do some doodling. I won't call it actual art. I do some doodling, but I have something else that makes my money elsewhere that's artistic. And when I let it go, I think of 15 or 20 different things that I could have done with it. I think of, well, I could have tweaked it this way, or I could have done it that way. But I mean, it's just like having kids, man. Kick them out of the nest and just hope for the best afterwards.
Yeah, if people like it, that's great. Like I absolutely like that people really dig the stuff. But to me, it's like I'm not really super attached to the stuff. It's like some of the stuff I do for other people, it's like I'm just trying to pay a bill that day. But then like at other times, it's like, yeah, I'll put like a lot of effort and a lot of everything into it, and then as soon as I'm done, it's just like, all right.
Well, dude,
and then I'll never look at it again.
Do you think there'd be a different onus on it if you were doing it in the physical as opposed to the digital world?
I don't really think there's that much of a difference, because a lot of my physical art, I treated it kind of the same, where it was just like, you know, I mean, I've given it away, I've stored it in a garage. I just like, I just go, okay, I'm done with this, and I put it aside. And like, a lot of times I'll keep stuff around, but I'll keep it around just in case I need to do something with it. Like if I have to like if I'm gonna sell it, that's one thing. But for the most part, it's like, you know, I might need to like reference it or something, or do something with it. So I just kind of like, I'll just keep it somewhere. And then I run through a mad dash of the house going like, where the hell did I leave everything? Because I'll immediately forget where I put it.
So, as far as it goes with your actual art, doing what you do, what keeps you enthusiastic?
Lately it's been paychecks. But,
That's, you know what, that's the whole idea behind my avatar. You know, you gotta just keep rolling that boulder up the hill, because that's what you got to do.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I like the fact that my wife doesn't have to like, you know, that we don't have to like, you know, bust our asses like that much harder than without it, you know, because it's like, you know, like, yeah, it gets tough, but it's like, you know, if someone's willing to pay me for my stuff, I'm happy with that. You know, like that's kind of, it's like my whole philosophy with it is just like, I'm never happy with the stuff, but if other people are happy, I'm happy they're happy. So what really keeps me enthusiastic is like, you know, people being really into the stuff, and it goes, I should keep making more of this thing because people like this thing.
Well, and I would think, and not to get into my psychology degree or anything,
Go for it.
but I would think that is a grounding force, basically something that lets you know that what you're doing, you're definitely on the right track. I don't know what your social blade is like, but I'm sure
I've never
that
seen it.
but I'm sure that you have more people trickling in, that it's not just a, oh, well, we're bored of him now. I find that when I get on and watch your streams, I just have the fascination of seeing the process, because somebody can give you something completely outlandish, and we're talking 20 minutes later, it's realized.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, someone told me that that the reason why they like my streams was that not only do I do that, but I'm also highly interactive with the stuff. And then that like a lot of people that are out there don't really engage people directly, and I make it a point to do that. So it's kind of like, you know, like I like doing that kind of stuff, because it's like, I don't, when I'm actually doing my work, like if I'm doing like a, you know, commission stuff, and it's like really late at night, it's like I used to go on Discord and like talk to people while I was working, but then as you probably seen on Twitter today, that got really stupid. But you know, like I'm like, for the most part, I'm just like, okay, I gave up on that shit. But it's mostly like I when I get work done, it's like I'm not really talking to anybody, and there'll be whole days where I just don't talk to anybody. Yeah, I'll maybe say hi to my wife, and then I'm just like, oh, yeah, I gotta keep working.
Well, that would keep the marriage going. I know from being married 10 years myself.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like, it's goofy, but at the same time, it's like, you know, it's all part of the, all part of the, you know, the job is that everything is very solitary and very, you know, insulated, and it does help to, you know, to like, you know, poke your head up and you know, and talk to people. And that's kind of what my whole thing with my live streams has been, was doing exactly that, like making it a point to talk to people, and engaging with people in a way I normally would.
Well, and I'll liken you, because I will say I've had some time in the comics industry, and you're more like a Todd McFarlane than a John Byrne, because John Byrne, literally, if you go to a convention, the first thing you see is the sign in front of him that says, I won't draw X-Men, don't ask. and McFarlane was literally 2 seats down from him. And somebody asked him about that. You know, is there anything that you won't draw? And he's like, hell no. You guys feed my ego. You make me do what I love to do. I get paid for, you know, doing my dream.
Well, I've always found it like this, where a lot of the people that I knew when I was coming up, people I went to school with, all kinds of stuff, a lot of them were very, very ego driven and very, you know, where they're just like kind of just egotistical dicks about everything. Like, I'm so great, yeah, everybody should be kissing my ass kind of attitude. And they were good. You know, they were actually pretty competent. In fact, in some ways, even more competent than I was at the stuff. But their own ego basically led them to being like, oh, if I'm not going to work at Marvel, then, you know, like, oh, screw this. And it's like, you're squandering your talent, and now you're like, you're working at a 7-Eleven. Like, what's wrong with you? You know, 'cause they basically burn out on their own ego. And I've never been about that. And that's probably one of the biggest shocks that people have had when talking to me. It's like, you know, I just talk to people like they're people. Like, I don't sit there like I'm above them or anything. It's like, I do a thing that they don't do, but I'm not really all that different. So it's one of those things where it's like a lot of people have to keep that stuff in check.
Well, and a lot of people get a misconception about ego. Ego is actually a good thing. Because ego is where your confidence comes from, where your self-reliance, your self-assurance comes from too. And I don't ever really see any issues when I'm watching one of your streams. When I'm watching one of your streams, I feel like I'm just chilling with a half a glass of bourbon.
Yeah, I mean, that's the vibe I've been kind of cultivating. Is like, hey, you know, come here and fucking, you know, hang out. Like even like some of the biggest trolls that I see, like, doing, like, you know, horrible things, like at the Kumite chat and stuff, they'll come into my stuff and they'll just hang out. Like, you know, they're not going to be, you know, throwing around the racial insults or, you know, or anything weird. They're just like, oh, hey man, what's up? And I'm like, that's kind of a trip.
Yeah, that's kind of what we want here, you know, is to be middle ground. You know, the people come to watch your art. They're not coming to hear you try to trash on somebody, or even the concept of what you're doing your art about. They're not, you know, they're not like, oh, I wonder if you're going to be doing something Kumite based. You know, they come wanting to see art.
Well, and the thing is, I don't want a dick wave, but this whole blood sports thing, I mean, it's nice with being a spectator every so often, but no, I would rather see people doing something creative, like, you know, sitting back watching you draw for a couple of hours.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a drag when it's that much all the time. Like, I found that like my place really when it was after like that episode of the Kumite where they did 2 of them in one day, where it was about that Ross guy.
The Kuma Bloodapalooza. I was going to say Kumatuza or some shit.
No,
this was after. This
is when they had the horrible pedophile guy on twice.
Okay.
And people were really, really fucked up like that day, to where, like, you know, people are contacting me and they're just like we don't know what the hell's going on with life anymore. Like the people were that demoralized by the whole thing, and they were and the main question was like, can you do a stream today? Because you don't do any of this stuff and you are outside of this stuff enough to where it's like we can completely disconnect if you do it. So that night I threw on a stream without any plan, and I made fun of Andy. You know?
Well, and I know you know who Jim Davis is, but for the audience, Jim Davis was the guy who created Garfield.
Yeah.
And when things were at their worst, he said he was the most inspired when things were just so shitty in the news that he had to go and counter it by making something good, by making something funny, by letting people know that, yeah, the world is a horrible place, but you can laugh. And that's why I like to go to your live streams, just because of the fact that I never walk away without laughing at least a couple times.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, getting to another reason that you do so well is probably your better half, Allie. So how long have you been married, if you don't mind me asking?
About 5 years. I never really kept track, but yeah, about 5 years.
You better keep track. You're probably getting smacked on the arm right now, if I'm guessing right.
Men
No,
never,
she's asleep now. But I mean, she's like that too. What's up?
Men never have to keep track. That's why calendars were invented.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like we were never really like that kind of like married couple where it's like oh, you forgot our anniversary. It's like, well, we never forget the anniversary because it's Halloween.
Oh, so it's a perfect anniversary. You did a Halloween wedding.
Yeah, we did one of those Halloween things in City Hall.
Oh, so you didn't even have a spooky wedding.
No, we went to the parade in New York City afterwards.
Oh wow.
Like basically we just we got out, stopped off, had pizza, and the person we had as our like witness, we didn't have any family there. We just had someone that I just randomly met on the internet.
Hey, come be a witness to my wedding.
Yeah, exactly. That was literally how that all worked. It was just like we made it as not a big deal as possible.
That's awesome. I mean, that's not the way I did it, but I give you props for that.
Well, I actually, with my last marriage, we got married on Halloween because I said there's no fucking way I'm ever getting married again unless we do it on Halloween and there's a party.
So both of you guys are Halloween marriagers or anniversaries, I guess the word would be.
Yeah.
So that you guys have an emotional connection.
Halloween's the way to go.
Yeah, one of my friends got married on Halloween too. But yeah, that's hilarious.
Ugh. Now, I do want to make sure, since we're past the halfway point, I want to engage our audience. And if you have any questions for Optic, Mr. Rob LeBlanc, please do make sure and ask them, and we will get them answered for you.
But apparently, I mean, gosh dang, I guess it's pretty popular to have a Halloween wedding.
Oh yeah, I mean,
well, even Jessica H put it on there too, so that's hilarious. And then American Gadfly saying that he's gonna have to have it. That's hilarious. Like everybody's like, I want it too.
Well, I mean, if you can do it in Manhattan with no real plan and not even bother to tell your family until afterwards. Well, I mean, if you can do it in Manhattan, that's the way to go.
Oh, we did it in somebody's backyard, and then we jumped on a party bus and ran around town and didn't have to spend a dime.
Yeah, I think my wedding cost like $40.
Dude?
Yeah. Well, it's not counting the train tickets.
All right, so our first question came in, and did you draw a lot of dicks in high school?
Is that Big Fat Brian?
American Gadfly.
American Gadfly? Because Big Fat Brian was all about them dicks. Oddly enough, yeah. But I did it as more of like goofs. It would just be like oh hey, like where's my textbook? Oh, here it is. Why is there a dick in it? I don't know.
Wait a minute, you missed one, Sisyphus.
Oh, okay.
Dual Wield says, "Why are you so smexy?"
I don't know. Maybe it's my Irish style. Where I don't fit that stereotype, and I only get drunk occasionally.
Oh, wait a minute. If you're Irish, there's no such thing as getting drunk occasionally.
Yeah, I'm a bad one.
I'll tell you what. My dad used to always say, if it wasn't for whiskey, the Irish would rule the world.
That is true. That is very true.
Well, and I come from Native American, and Welsh. So the tag on us is that you mix those two together and we're too drunk to give a shit about anything.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Let's see. Was there anything else? Oh yeah. So, me being married, also, I have the idea or question about. You guys seem to have a great relationship online. Does anything you ever say you have to explain, or does like somebody say something, make a comment, and you gotta? I hate using the word explain, but does that ever happen?
I mean, like at first it was like that because at that point you're kind of feeling each other out, but now it's like literally like, okay, I'll give you an example. Last night there was this porn site that we were trolling.
Oh my goodness!
No, because we were just like fucking with these people, like just a lot of we're idiots. So
wait a minute.
So hold on, let's get this straight. It's late.
It was one of those like kind of cam horror kind of sites where like you could actually interact with people. So we're just saying horrible things in the chat at them, but not like at them. Like we're just like I mean, like there was one guy who was talking about the Holocaust repeatedly. And like all this stuff, like it was just like horrible stuff to see how quickly we can get banned. Like that was the goal. And what happened was someone sent me a link, and I went on. I'm like, okay, like let's see what the hell's going on here. And I went in, and it was this girl who was talking about like all this new age stuff. And so I contacted Broski. He's another guy who does YouTube stuff.
Yeah,
he's pretty good. You should check him
I
out.
like Broski.
Yeah, we're talking about getting him on here.
Yeah, he jumped in, and we were talking to this chick, and she wants to hire me to do some work now, and we're trying to get her to come on his show, and turns out she's actually pretty cool. And then the second I got off the thing, it was like I immediately I woke my wife up, and I'm like yeah, so we were talking to this porno chick, and I might be doing some work for it, and we're gonna talk to her on the show, and she might come on our stream. And my wife's just like, okay.
Yeah.
It's like I mean, it was kind of like when Coach Red Pill asked, like about being on my stream, because it was like I was as a goof, I said it and he agreed to it, but it was like I didn't have a plan. I'm like, I still might have him on, but it's one of those things where like when I told my wife about it, she just kind of goes, all right. What are you gonna do with that? It's just like, oh, like you asshole, you're always lighting shit on fire. Like, what are you doing?
I'm surprised you were allowed to sit there and talk with a porn star for that long and not hear an earful. At least I mean, I don't know.
Well, we're in a situation where we really we know each other well enough to where we're not gonna do anything stupid. So it's just
I understand that.
So it's like like whatever I do, I do it for goofs and everything. So it's like oh, like talking to this like porno person. It's like one, porno people are people too, and also like I'm not trying to bang them. That's a key thing.
Yeah. What my wife likes to say is, if you're not willing to do it in front of me, then you shouldn't be doing it. And I'm pretty sure you'd be willing to say everything you said right to her right next to you. You know what I mean?
Well, when the second time we went in on one of these things to goof on them, like it was just the whole big thing. We're just going in for a goof. It was like it was one of those things where it was like my wife was literally just sitting there in the room playing video games and just going like you people are idiots.
By the way, Rob, did you have a chance to read the description for the show?
I have not. Should I
have? If you want to take just a second. And yes, we are still taking questions. I want to make sure, is American Gadfly still in the chat?
Yeah, put the space in the name.
I didn't.
Oh, on the second one. Okay, I can fix that real quick.
He did up top, but I didn't down in the description.
But in the description,
it's fixed. Yes, he
Sketch
is.
DocGriffon wearing nothing but the heart of the ocean.
Stone Mexican guy for $2. Viva la raza! No, just joking. Ask Rob, boxers or briefs?
Who says I wear anything?
Oh, he says option 3, Stone Mexican guy.
There you go.
Hey, you know, hey, you got to give something to the ladies, you know.
So, are we gonna get you up on the heart? Yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea. How can I get that commission? What's your commission cost?
No, that is simply a joke, and I can never pull off that Kate Winslet body.
I don't know. That one might be an expensive one.
Yes, because of all the lawsuits of the people you will blind by drawing it.
I mean, there's a guy, Big Fat Brian, who'll probably do that. MS Paint, but it'll be pretty good. He's actually pretty good at it.
I've got Scrub already kind of volunteering for it, so.
There you go. My gimmick infringing rival.
Well, yeah, I know he's I've made enough fun of him, so he's trying to figure out a way to gracefully make fun of me.
Scrub is hilarious. It cracks me up because he really is just throwing everything at the wall and hoping it sticks. You know, and it's most of it's just him cracking up. I mean, it's great because it's just organic. You know, it's just him just cracking up, trying shit.
So I have to ask this, Rob, when you're not being your artistic self, what are your favorite channels to tune into for streams?
I don't really watch a lot of streams. I mean, I used to, but like when I start like working for people, I tend to not really listen to too much of their stuff, or I become a little bit more casual with it, because it's like, you know, I only have so many hours of the day, and it's almost like I live with these people. It's like like with Tonka, it's like I'm drawing this stuff at least every day, so it's like they're already there in my headspace to where I'm like I'm gonna go watch something else. So I'll watch like Defunct Land, or there's this old guy who shows like really old toys and stuff, and like crap that he finds, called Grand Illusions. It's mostly
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, like I watched that. There's the Pink Man, who does a lot of stuff with it was a lot of stuff with like fraud related martial arts stuff.
I forget who the guy is, but he's the one who keeps doing all the martial arts frauds.
Yeah.
And I wish I could pimp him, but I can't remember the name, but I laughed my ass off.
Pink Man.
Is it? It is Pink Man. I'm sorry. Yeah. God damn it. I have to take another drink to get clarity. Hold on just a second.
I watch a lot of history and like animated battle channels.
Oh, there's another one where it was there's one where this guy he repairs really old toys, because it's something I used to actually do, like randomly I would get like stuff from eBay and I'd repair them and resell them.
Like Nintendos.
Oh, that like old like Transformers toys and like like old like Mego figures and stuff.
Can I just be completely off topic about talking about myself? I used to know the biggest toy dealer in the United States, and his name was St. Louis Bob. And this guy literally, you'd say, well, yeah, can you get me a Parademon from the Superpowers collection? 2 days later, he'd be emailing you going, okay, well, where do you want me to send it? And he not only did all of that, collected and found toys, but yeah, his big heart on was finding pieces of toys and assembling them back together. He especially loved putting back together, and I know this is before your time, but please do bear with me, the GI Joes with the afros and the kung fu grip.
Oh yeah, I used to fix those.
That was his huge hard on, because it was tough to find hands that weren't broken.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is like you usually have to like search around and find like, oh, here's a figure that has like decent hands, but like the legs are broken, and then you just kind of fix it from there.
So
Yeah,
you ever do any like Toy Story stuff where you put a Barbie head on GI Joe GI Joe body or anything like that?
Oh, when I was really little, I used to do all kinds of dumb stuff like that.
See,
Actually,
I hated
Because
breaking toys. Like, I'd
well, the
cry.
thing is, if I had something break, I'd get like really sad about it, but then I would go, like, eventually I would sit there and I'd put it in a drawer, and then I would see it like every once in a while, and then eventually I would just go, you know what, I gotta do something with this, and then I make something out of it.
and that leads me to a question which I hadn't asked before, which is, do you like to work in any other mediums like sculpting?
I do. I just don't get to do it as often as I'd like. I'm not the best at it, but I mean it's something I could do. Yeah.
Well, because I think when it comes down to all the artistic stuff, that everybody has kind of a want to be creative.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't have the time to do it, or the physical means to, um, but yeah, damn, it might be nice. I've got a friend who works with, I don't know if you've ever heard of Beast Toys,
I think I have.
but they do limited runs of movie toys. You know, like they did, Hellraiser, and Henson gave him the license to do a limited run for Dark Crystal.
Oh, that's cool.
Just beautiful stuff. And initially she was like, well, I don't know if I should get into this. And it's like, well, do you love it? Well, yeah, I love it. Then do it. And
At least take a shot at it.
yeah, and I mean, her boyfriend eventually got onto the show. Oh, I forget what the name of the show is. It was on Sci-Fi Channel, and it was the Henson shop where you'd make creatures.
Yeah. I know that one. I
Um,
just don't know the name, but
yeah, he actually got onto it and was a semifinalist.
that's pretty cool.
And if she
That's
wouldn't have
awesome.
played, yeah, if she wouldn't have played around with modeling or sculpting, she probably would have never met this guy in the first place, and had a decent kind of lucrative career in the fig making business.
Oh yeah, you can make a killing doing that stuff.
So now I set all this up to basically ask you, where do you want to go? What do you see yourself doing? And I'm sorry, I hate to do the business model. Where are you in 5 years? But what do you ultimately see yourself doing?
See, that's the really big question, is that I'm kind of in flux right now, where I only just started doing the YouTube thing like only a couple months ago. Like it's really new to me. So it's like I want to continue doing that, and building up something, because in a way that's been a weird little hub of my business. Is that I do the the YouTube thing. People like what I do, that kind of stuff, but then those same people will turn around and go, oh hey, like, can you do something for me, like, can you do, and I'm like, I'd like to do a lot of the work I was doing with a lot of people. um has definitely been really fun, and I'd like to keep doing that, but like right now I'm kind of like I don't know where things are gonna go. I hope it's something good, but if it doesn't, then I'll I at least have people that do have my back, to where I could do other things, which I didn't have before. Like, we're talking like a few months ago, I didn't know any of these people and have anything to do with anything. So yeah, it was one of those things where it was like, I went into it not knowing what was going to happen, and somehow it's turned into a thing where I'm actually making an okay living. So I want to keep doing that for a while, and then I'll see where that goes. Like I want to probably start up my old comic series, stuff that I used to do. I mean, like I have graphic novels that I haven't even published. That maybe they'll have a new home now or something. It's like, who knows?
Can we get a just a main character from one, and that if we end up seeing it, we'll know who it is?
Oh.
Kind of, come on, give us a spoiler. Something you got just sitting waiting to make you millions. That little gold mine you got hidden away.
Oh, I would never spoil that stuff because some of it is really terrible and I have to redo it.
Oh, okay.
I would love to have you adapt one of my stories graphically.
Hey, I mean, once I have like a lot more time freed, that would be something I would want to look into.
Yeah, because at this point you ain't got time for shit. You popular, brother.
It's really weird because like some people will say I'm an absolute nobody, and then at the same time it's like people are like, hey, you want to be on my show? And I'm just like, why do you want me to? It's like, I mean, well, I'm getting there. Like we're talking, like I was a guy 3 months ago who like wouldn't really talk to anybody. Like if I was out somewhere and somebody said it to me, I would just kind of put my head down, just not talk to people. And then all of a sudden it's like I'm hosting a show, and then I'm doing like other shows with other people where like I'm the focus of it. It's really weird.
Yeah, but once again, it falls into that psychology thing where you're deserving because you're offering a product which comes directly from yourself. You're giving people, I mean, for lack of a better word, you're allowing people to use you as a jester, to find some amusement, to find some fun, to take off this edge.
I wouldn't say gesture. I think of it more as like a...
No, because a jester...
What am I, funny, like a clown?
Yeah, what do you think he is? What do you mean by that?
What do you think, a pony? Like a clown? Like something to amuse you? No, because in Shakespeare's world, the jester was the highest form of respect because the jester was the one who could get their point across by being amusing, yet dropping those knowledge bombs. So in no way do I make that as an insult, but you're basically becoming a visual arts jester to these people who need some type of release. And I mean, you're right. When he did the whole Ross Twofer show, that was just soul crushing. I didn't even want to bother to listen to the rest of it, just because, I mean, regardless if the boy is trolling or not, it's just a depressing topic that nobody really needs to spend time on. The only thing personal opinion, the only thing they need to spend time on is what type of jacketed bullet that they're going to put in their gun when they pop a shot between his eyes.
Yeah. Like that's the thing, is like that was the point when I really kind of stopped listening to the Kumite all the time, and I became a lot more casual because at some point, I mean, I even had this explained to me. It's like at some point you have to stop being a fan, and you have to like when you're a creator, it's like you have to like focus on creating what you're doing, because a lot of people that are out there are really out there to destroy things. And I mean, you see it when there's a lot of people trying to tear people down. Like you'll see, like if you look at my Twitter, there'll be people saying all kinds of shit. And it's just a lot of people who really just they really just want to burn things down, and they really just want to they want to get a reaction, and they want to hurt people.
Yeah,
and,
but speaking of that, we'll go ahead and ask a question. I don't know what it is, but what's the thing with Fern, Rob? I don't know. I
don't even know who the hell that is.
I don't know if that's a person. I don't know if that's a.
I believe it's somebody from Geek Server that I don't know who the hell that person is, and I have no problem with them personally, other than they've been copying pasting my taunting messages, which they don't understand that I'm fucking with them. But I just stopped talking. I was just like, forget it, man. It's not even worth it. See, that's the thing is, a lot of people don't understand that how my humor works is that, like, I like to fuck with people sometimes. I don't do it maliciously, but like if people are gonna talk shit about me, because a lot of people will talk shit about me all the time. But if they're gonna talk shit about me and I hear about it, I'm gonna goof on it. Like the
Yeah,
weird
you got
thing
to
with,
respond.
well, I mean, that's the thing is, like, you really don't have to respond, and I know it doesn't do me any favors sometimes.
I
Like, I
guess you
mean,
don't have to respond. That's true.
I get into stupid shit with people, but it's one of those things where, like, I mean, like, I even had, you know, like failure telling me to just shut the fuck up, dude, because it's
Well,
like,
I've been told that that person is Fern and Loathing, and apparently she's got a hard on for you for right now.
well, I don't even know who the hell she is, so
No,
whatever.
that's okay. Um,
She can
I,
kick rocks. She's
I
not on the
did
show.
I did want to make sure and wrap this back that what you're doing right now, you are providing an outlet, you're providing a release, you're giving people the ability to be able to laugh at all the bullshit that's going on. And my friend, that's a rare and very valuable talent.
Yeah. I'm distracted by this whole stupid thing, but I mean, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, no matter what people, you know, want to say, because it's like, you know, people who actually talk to me know that, you know, I'm pretty much as I say I am. You know, like I don't put on a character. I don't, you know, throw on a persona for, you know, for people's, you know, you know, edification. I just do what I do, and when I don't want to do it anymore, I just won't do it. You know?
Well,
It's a great
and
way of looking at it.
I'm sorry, it got real dark, but it's like, like a lot,
that's
like a
not
lot of
dark.
this.
That's noble.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff going on today is like a lot of people who are saying like, oh, I'm a dick rider, I'm like all these things, and it's like really, like, come on, man. Like you people are like not doing anything with your lives. You're just kind of sitting there and you're just constantly just bringing negativity into shit when I had no problem with people other than, you know, like crap I was hearing behind my back, and I'm just like, I just don't want to deal with that. So I left the Discord server, and I was like, that was it. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to just leave and not deal with it. All of a sudden it's like these people, you know, have just decided to like have a big giant problem, and I'm just like, really, I don't have a problem with you until you start shit, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Well,
it's just, yeah, there is a lot of, especially, it's all started, and I hate using the skeptics, but the skeptics started it because they were just attacking people's ideas and not really building any. And then if anybody did, like Sargon tried to, but it was retarded at the same time, they get smacked down for it. So it's like one of them things where it's like, if you're a skeptic, you really can't believe in anything, because if you have a belief, any skeptic can pull it apart. I mean, that's just,
it's all about like cult like mentalities that a lot of these people get, like especially like on Discord. It's like you'll see a lot of like pockets of people that form these, you know, these social groups, and it's like it's perfectly fine to form a social group. That's great. You find people that are like minded that you want to hang out with. That's great. You know, I don't fault that. But when it starts getting into that, I mean, I don't want to say toxic, but like kind of that weird vile mindset where everyone is the enemy and like you're doing all this shit, and it's like me leaving a Discord server should just be I decided not to be in that server anymore, not oh my god, it's a big giant conspiracy.
yeah, yep. He's a
Because it,
spy. He's a
yeah,
spy trying to take down our server.
yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm like, I really want nothing to do with you fucking people, and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But this Fern person, I've never heard of this person before, unless it's someone I knew under a different name. But
well,
so,
and the
so, so,
whole
I'm like, that's really the only way I'm going to publicly address it at this point, because I'm done with it at this point.
well, and the whole thing about it is that we're of the age where we have perspective, a lot of these kids, and I will say kids, are revving up these Discord servers.
People are our age.
Especially like Clowntown people. Jesus.
I don't know anything about that.
Or Anime Hit Squad. I mean, all of those they're literally kids. They haven't had their dicks knocked into the dirt yet. Yeah. So they have no perspective. They just want to go after people. And I don't want to be part of the drama or part of the politics. And
well, since I know someone is in here that in the crowd that is probably reporting back about everything I say, they can report back this. I don't have any actual personal problem with you guys. I just don't care about you guys. You know, I was friendly with you. You guys got weird. I didn't want anything to do with it. That should be it. So you can go report that to your whatever people,
soy father.
Whichever soy father you have at this current time, and you can just fuck off, because I don't have time for little kid bullshit. I have a job to do, and I'm gonna continue doing that despite people. So yeah,
kaboom.
So really, I really want someone to clip this and just kind of put this up and just go like, this will be the official response. I don't care. So yeah, I mean, like I'm willing to be cool with people, but if they want to be jerks, they could just be jerks to to my fucking block.
Well, it's just like an old friend of mine used to say. He's like, you can get off any way that you want to. That's not my kind of porn.
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly that. It's just like this kind of took a weird turn, but yeah, like that's been like the drama all day with this stuff. It's like the only stuff I was really saying to these people was I was really just tagging up on, like, because Tonka was goofing on him, so I was like, I'll goof on him too, because they're being goofs.
Sorry.
All right, what'd you do?
Remove. There we go. Bad layering. Hello?
Okay.
Did you guys hear that? I mean, I'm guessing the chat did, but
I
didn't see anything.
Since we're coming around to a close, I would like to once again thank New Amsterdam Alcohol for inventing coconut vodka. Tonight we were drinking the coconut vodka along with blue raspberry soda, which I like to call a blue nut buster. And feel free to drink as much as you'd like, as long as you're not driving anywhere, or if you're not going to be the Uber driver that I call later on.
Yes.
So Rob, we usually end our show with karaoke.
Jesus Christ.
So if you'd like to participate, please pull up on the YouTubes or however you can, because I tried to layer it and it just was an asshole to me.
That ain't gonna happen.
All right.
But my final message is, be cool, and if you don't want to be cool, then just don't bother me. When like, people take the internet way too seriously, and I think they should just calm the fuck down and hang out, and everybody be happy.
I agree with you. Yep.
Because literally YouTube and the society that's grown up around it is illusional at best.
If I goof, I don't do it to be mean or show that I'm serious. I'm goofing because it's goofy. I hate that I have to explain this to adults.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, is technically you're not explaining it to adults.
Mentally children, but it's depressing. Because I like some of these people, I do. But
I'm a fan. I'm a fan. It's just like I've gone into some of the political hangouts, and I've literally just smack them upside the head with my dick saying, you guys are just missing the fucking point. You can pitch a bitch about whatever you want to do, but that's all it is just bitching. You know, change your fucking diaper, put on a cup, and get into life.
It's just it's like do your thing. Stop being, you know, welled up in your own negativity that you have to spend your day bringing other people down. It's like, look, nobody cares about your shit. Work on yourself.
Clean your room and stay off my porch. Damn kids.
Yeah, exactly. Like us boomers say. Like us boomers say, stop being such a piece of shit.
You punks, get off my lawn.
Stay away from my car. You know how it is.
Well, and in the Hangout, I went ahead and posted the link for the misery.
I'm not gonna be able to pull it up. I'm gonna have it up, but let's see. Yeah, I'll just do it. I'll do it that way. All right. Let's see.
And I don't pick these songs. And coming down the pike a little bit later on, I think we're going to have a vote as to what they want us to do for karaoke. But I did want to just take some quick time out before we finish up and let people know what our schedule is coming up. Give you a couple of names, people that are going to be on the show. We're going to have Kevin Logan. Of course, I guess I really don't need to explain Kevin Logan.
Not much of a fan.
Yeah, neither am I, but I'm not the boss, and I will be happy to be cordial. Eric S. Burden, Cognitive Thought, AP the Frog, Magog of Morskar, Aiden Paladin.
Hey, will you DM that to me? Sorry.
Yeah. Vamp Candy, a couple of my buddies, Otis Gyrie, who is the White Morgan Freeman of Creepypasta Horror Readings, Harry Manfredini, the creator of the Friday the 13th theme, the that's going to be an awesome one. American Gadfly also said he'd come on too, so I'm holding you to it. And we've got several other people, Beard Berrien, Luke Ford. We've got a lot of people coming in, and I just want to reassure everybody that this is not about bitching about current politics. This is not about who's the latest butthurt and what they want to say about it. This is more about creators, how they create, what they create, and the process that it takes to be I hate to say YouTube celebrity, but to be a creator on YouTube and basically make a difference, make something that's entertaining, that's fascinating, that's informative for everybody that's listening. I'll be honest with you, we usually only have about 24 people listening in at any given time. If that expands, that's great. But we're going to continue doing what we want to do, what fascinates us, bringing on guests like Rob, because we want to know about the creative process. We want to know what those artists out there think, how they do it, and of course, provide a little bit of senpai to those people who are looking to do something like they are doing. So I'll get off my soapbox and holy shit, there's a shot sitting here for me. I think I will drink it. Oh, a little bit of blue nut. Life is good. So I did want to make sure, as far as it goes, Rob, I mean, we've got you pimped out in the description with your YouTube channel, with your Twitter, with your Patreon. But I want to make sure. what do we need to shill for you?
I don't really have anything really to shill other than my YouTube and my Twitter right now. Like, I mean, I don't have a lot of, like, I don't have products for sale, like all that kind of stuff currently.
So, you don't like have any dick pics on Pornhub or any silhouettes or?
Nah, not today. I mean, if people want to, you know, I mean, maybe they can get the outline, but they have to be nice to me.
See, because my wife keeps going. See, because my wife keeps going. Hey, you should put that on Pornhub, and I'm like, no, because there can be no sequel.
That's how you do it, man. That's how you do it.
Yeah, it's just like there should have never been a sequel to Jaws, but it happened. But I want to make sure that before we go into this horrible karaoke thing, your show normally, when does it occur on YouTube? Do you have a set?
Right now it's been semi-sporadic. So it's one of those things where it's like you have like usually I would do it on I always plan to do it on Mondays, but then it would end up being Tuesday. But then this Tuesday I skipped it.
Yeah.
So like right now, with the nature of a lot of the work I'm doing, it's a little more in flux. But I'm hoping to get it to be a more regular thing sometime soon. You know, once I get, you know, like a lot of, like, I have a lot of commission stuff, and I want to get some comic stuff, you know, like moving further than it is. So yeah, it's a process. We're getting there. I'm thinking I'll be streaming more towards the weekend, but I'm gonna be taking a break, like probably tomorrow.
Man, weekends have a harsh schedule though. Everybody's doing it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely like a harsh schedule, but I've never really cared. What I do is I go, I feel like streaming now, and then I do it, and then people will go, oh, Scrub's on. I'm like, I don't care. Like he can have his thing, because I mean, we do have some overlap in people, but I'm like, you're talking a difference between like a couple hundred people and like 20 people. You know, I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, and
because I'm not doing it for the money. You know, that's for sure.
And let's just quash this, that there is no heat between Scrub and Rob.
No, there isn't. I like messing with him, even though he no sells me most of the time.
Yeah.
There was one problem at one point, but it was mostly just a misunderstanding based off a thing, because people were trying to rob me up, and I was like, I just woke up, and I was like, what the fuck's going on?
I mean,
I'm like ready to punch somebody, and it's like, and then I'm like, Scrub, you got a problem? And he's like, no, I don't have a problem. I used to stuff my memes all the time. I'm like, all right, fair enough. It would be cool. Like, I'm just like, whatever. You do you. I mean, sometimes he infringes on my gimmick, and I'll have to fight him at some point. But there's no real heat. We're good.
Well, yeah, but he always gives you the eggy to know everything's cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like I don't really talk to him. But the one time we did for like that half second, I'm like, all right, it's no problem.
Yeah, and
it's more of a friendly rivalry on my part.
Well, and in the circle of people that we have a tendency to gravitate around, it's more of everybody's busting everybody else's balls. It's all our in jokes. If you finally figure out what we're doing, that's fine, but still, you know, they are fucking in jokes. If you get them, you get them. If you don't, you don't. There is no heat. There's nothing that's going to show up on Keemstar's channel. You know, there's nothing that's going to happen. You know, Philip DeFranco is not going to do an in-depth interview. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly it. It's like people think way too much about stuff that just it doesn't matter. like people being like mad about something on Discord or what like these other people. It's like people are thinking that like everybody's so in with each other and all these things, and it's like really like I just work for people. You know, like I'm not sitting there like I'm not hanging out at Tonka's house having a beer. You know, I'm not like going out. You know, like going out on the town with with failure and all that. It's just like yeah, I talk to people once in a while and I do work for them, and we're all cool. Like there's nothing really past that. You know, I don't know. People think way too much. Like it's this whole big cabal of weirdness, and it's like, nah, we're just a bunch of people who have our own lives.
Yeah, and it's so funny because there's people that I will bust balls with eternally, like Scrub, like Cognitive Thought, like failure, and we're not friends, but we understand the jokes.
Yeah, and if you know it's just guys busting each other's chops, then it's no big deal. It's whenever people get sour so dang quick, man.
And even when it's not like people like that, it's like it's just like if it's someone like randomly on a Discord, it's like if I'm goofing on you, it means that like if I have a problem with you, you're not really gonna hear from me. You know, so if I sit there and I go, oh, like hey, I heard you were being a dick. You know, that's just me goofing. You know, I'm not trying to start a war. I'm having a goof. I'm poking at people. If they take it seriously, it's kind of their problem.
Well, and seriously, if people are friendly, I'm not saying friends, but if people are friendly with each other in this YouTube sphere, then normally we're gonna DM them and say, hey, you know, are you cool with this? You know, I'm just busting your balls.
Of course.
And there are too many people out there going, "Oh, you know, it's starting a fire."
Oh, like with once again, back to the the current stuff was my only interaction was like after I left. It was like it was right before I left. It was like a week ago. It was like I heard someone said something and it was like really ridiculous and stupid. And I was just I mentioned it and I was like, I'm really mad about this. You know,
Well,
like being a fucking and they took it like, oh my god, they're so butthurt. To where even today, they're still saying I'm butthurt over it, and it's just like, no, I was goofing, and I said it was a goof afterwards, and they still don't get it.
well, and I'm sorry to go into YouTube politics, but when Music Man Mike went off on Allie, I'm just like, all right, motherfucker, gloves are off. Here, have a couple of memes on me. And then he did the reporting thing, and I was like, dude, if you want to step up and you want to battle me, you know, get some friends.
It's like I'm just goofing on you with Photoshop. It's really, I'm not like coming over and like spitting on your mother. I'm just photoshopping like a dick to your forehead. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Calm down.
Yeah, I mean,
calm down, have a drink, hang out, man.
Yeah, if you have no sense of humor, then you really don't need to be on the internet at all.
I mean, do they think they're like at a dinner party with royals and all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, he was respectable, but I seen that dick on his forehead, so we got to end ties with this guy.
Yeah, it's like really the drawing that my wife shared again was a movie reference. It wasn't, like actually like shitting on the guy personally, because that's the thing is whenever I do these goofs, they're not at people personally like oh my god, like this is the absolute truth, they're a piece of shit, like the Mundane Matt thing. Yeah, sure, I made him the YouTube shooter, but I made a Lego Man Mundane Matt the YouTube shooter. I'm pretty sure Mundane Matt is not actually Lego.
Lego's too hard of a surface.
He's too round in parts.
It's too hard of a surface.
I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Well, I mean, no, he doesn't actually.
Everybody, let's type one in the chat if you think that Mundane Matt is actually Lego.
Yeah, I mean, it's jokes, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I did the Mundane Matt shower curtain. Yeah. And holy fuck, I got some people DMing me about it, but nobody wanted to step up and say, "Oh, you're bad. You're hurting Mundane Matt." And still, he hasn't blocked me yet. So I'm thinking somewhere deep inside of him, past that, shekel counting scumbag that he is, that he's actually enjoying these memes.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is he's retweeted the last batch of stuff I did. So
yeah, I think once he figures out,
I guess
I think once he figures out that it's kind of like a that it's not actually hateful, that it's just kind of just busting each other's balls,
huh.
then it's no big deal. But whenever he feels that guys are actually like after him, I don't know. He's a weird cat. It's hard to read him sometimes, because something he does is like you said, he's retweeting some of your stuff, but before, or not a week ago, he's sitting there flagging every clip video because he's saying it's taking food out of his mouth. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, he's a weird dude, and the funniest thing was that thing that I goofed about on that stream was exactly that. It was him and JF walking away, and JF is crying, and Monday Matt is always perpetually crying, and he goes like, "Oh, like it's okay, you can watch me flag Cog."
Well,
that's the joke. Like, hey, oh, it's okay, you can watch me flag him.
Well,
that's the joke.
And honestly, I will offer this, although he will never watch. I will offer this and say, Mundane Matt, if you want me to stop memeing you, then you need to send me one of those official Kilroy ball pit balls.
It's like, stop being such a penis, Mundane Matt.
Or just he can come on the show. I mean, I don't, like I said, we're getting Kevin Logan. I think next week. It's not. We're all about getting diversity. If they want to come and talk about whatever they want to talk about, like I don't think me and Kevin Logan are going to talk about any politics.
Dude, I can't think of a human question to ask Monday Matt. I mean, if you want to book him. I will be here as long as I have vodka.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think that's the only way it works.
Well, that's how you're here for every show.
So yeah, go ahead and get this wrapped, because I know we're right in the middle, and
we're running a little
our
over,
our buddies American Gadfly, and I'll spam their link in the chat just a little bit later, are getting ready to talk about the Dog Man. But I sincerely want to thank Rob for showing up. OpticDecay, check him out on his Twitter, on the YouTube channel, because I'll be there. You'll see me. And if you like what he does, then drop him some ducats over on his Patreon. Those are all listed in the description of this stream itself. Rob, thank you very much for coming on. We certainly appreciate it. You're a wonderful guest, and thank you for letting us walk around in your mind for a couple hours.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so now you can watch us destroy a karaoke.
Just ruin a classic.
You can sing along if
I do everything falsetto anyway. You can do it however you want. You can make up a voice. It's just not like we're going for American Idol.
So are you ready for me to do the 3, 2, 1 start?
All right, I am. I'm just gonna go ahead and start it in a browser thing.
What browser thing?
It's right on the screen.
I don't see it.
It's on the actual YouTube channel. But it's not. Gosh dang, it's not moving. It's only playing the music. Why isn't it playing? What? Gosh dang.
Everybody in the chat, sing along if you'd like to as well. This is a Canadian classic. It almost became the Canadian national anthem in the 80s.
Yeah, I'm not drunk enough for this one.
Everybody in the chat, sing along if you'd like to as well.
Okay, where are we at?
Wait, you took it down.
Yeah, it wasn't moving.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
It's karaoke lyrics.
I didn't see the lyrics coming up.
it didn't come up because it plays the beats and then it starts a countdown to doing the lyrics.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you white people, I swear to God. Oh, you're killing me. Oh, you kids today with your Zima and your Dan Fogel and your hair. It makes me go all verklempt. But yeah, tune in. I think next week it's going to be Kevin Logan. We want to make sure everybody has their questions ready. Okay, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, if you have questions for Kevin Logan, please be ready with them. We are a very open broadcast.
Doesn't look like a very expert.
So I can
No, it hasn't started yet.
I'm hearing it in my ears.
Here it goes. I wear my sunglasses at night so I can watch you weave
So I can track the visions in my eyes. She's deceiving me.
Where are we even to that yet?
Security. That's why I'm hearing my voice. It's behind it, isn't it?
She's deceiving me. Here comes my security. She's got control.
It's not following.
Don't twist the blade on the guy.
Yeah, it's off. I'm giving up.
Don't make me run with the guy and says, oh no.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and say goodbye to Rob. Thank you, Doc. Go to this at iModern Sisyphus. Go to OpticDecay's Twitter, OpticDecay. Go to DocGriffon's Twitter. Go and stop by DocGriffon's TeePublic store. Let's get him a shirt sale. All right, that is the show. Have fun, everybody. Bye.